a very good evening to you. Well, that's as good as any way to get going. Bit different, I grant you. Not our usual theme tune, but you know what? It is almost Christmas. We're pretty close, aren't we? 23rd, which means, yeah, by my calculation, tomorrow's Christmas Eve. And that means Christmas Day is the days after. So it's as close as we're going to get here on Sweet and Swing. And if that's not an excuse to have a Christmassy programme, well, I don't know what is. But fear not, Christmassy, but in keeping with Sweet and Swing, I think in any case. How are we all? I trust you are ready for the big day, as it's quite often referred to. And then, well, after that, yeah, anything goes, doesn't it? Make of it what you will. Anyway, whatever you make of Christmas, I hope you have a very happy Christmas, a healthy Christmas. See some loved ones, enjoy a good meal or two, something nice to drink, all the things I think Christmas is about. And of course, if you like and you are of a religious bent, then that is what it's all about, realistically, I suppose, isn't it? Albeit we see it as something of a midwinter celebration as well. Sweet and Swing with H through for the next hour or so with a lot of Christmassy classics one way or another and some indulgences. Maybe like this next one. I mean, you can't have, in my book, Christmas without Perry and Bing. You can't have too much Perry and Bing at Christmas. And it's not quite the night before Christmas, but you know what? It's close.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings all hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all safe in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled down for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With the little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his courses they came, as he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the courses they flew, with a sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke had encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round little belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk. And laying a finger alongside his nose and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night."
Oh, I still love it now. Can you hear my jingle bells, by the way? It's we've got the... thought it'd be festive and put my Santa hat on as well. Perry Como, of course. 'Twas the night before Christmas. That has been part of my Christmas for as long as I can remember. I still have the vinyl, hopefully, of the old maestros, and that would be played along with Bing and along with Teresa Brewer, more of whom later maybe, every Christmas for, well, throughout my entire childhood. And by then it was just ingrained in my psyche, and so it had to be played every Christmas. And I think it has. I can't remember the last time I went through a Christmas and didn't hear it at least once. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house. Oh, wonderful stuff. And never bettered, in my humble opinion, than by that rendition by Perry Como. The right amount of timbre in the voice and schmaltz, I think, to carry it off beautifully. Lovely. Well, that's a nice way to get going. Speaking of the old jingle bells and sleigh rides, there might be more than they'd anticipated in the States, looking at the weather. Going to be very white indeed. In fact, probably too white for an awful lot of it. Global warming, I don't know, global cooling perhaps in this particular case. But certainly rather odd. 80% of America, I think, or more, even the warm bits, seeing 0 or sub-zero temperatures, even in Florida, I believe. Wait for the run on grapefruit in the new year, no doubt. So there could be plenty of these, I dare say. Sleigh rides. I think the trumpet player really enjoyed doing that bit. I think it was the trumpet, wasn't it? The Boston Pops Orchestra with Sleigh Ride. Plenty of those going on, we reckon, in the United States. I think we've gone away with it for now in any case. As long as it doesn't drift across this way. You never know, do you? Sometimes when America sneezes, we catch a cold. I don't know enough about geography and winds to know whether it's blowing this way or not. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it don't, as they say. Hopefully, it's the latter. We've had a little bit of snow and ice, and I think we're okay for now, realistically. It's lovely to look at, isn't it? Not quite so nice if you're trying to get out and about and do things. Particularly if the pavements are really icy, and that's, I think, yes, I was talking to someone the other day, so they came a cropper, and it is no laughing matter. Like I said, if you're walking down a slippery pavement, your feet go and you come down and whack down onto the pavement. Sore at best, and it could be so much worse. So let's just stay not too bad at the moment. We'll stay with the rain for now, shall we? Better still, some nice sunshines. But what we don't really need again, I think, is to be frozen out. Freeze Out. Not what we want this Christmas, but that was the name of the tune in any case. Clarence Williams in 1929. Williams, he ran away from home at the age of 12, would you believe, to join Billy Kerson's travelling minstrel show. Then moved over to New Orleans and worked, well, doing anything, shining shoes, odd jobs, whatever. But was, I suppose, it's forced on you perhaps if you are a master of your own destiny, having run away. But the man of the 1920s, he was a well-regarded local entertainer. He did piano, he did some composing of new tunes, and was sharp enough that by the time he was 17, he was working in arranging entertainment at the local African-American vaudeville theatre, as well as performing at various saloons and organising stuff for them and dance halls around Rampart Street, and being there actually in New Orleans. Or New Orleans, as they say, and at clubs and houses in Storyville and whatever. Yes, he was a sharp cookie, realistically. He knew how to stand on his own 2 feet and make the most of it. Went on to perform as a pianist with all sorts of people. Had his Washboard Five and his Jazz Kings, and performed with Bessie Smith and Sidney Bechet and Irene Scruggs and all sorts of exponents back in the day. I think King Oliver, played on some of his sides as well. Terrific stuff, and just goes to prove, yes, I'm not suggesting you should run away, but I'm sure it makes you grow up very quickly and learn how to make the most of yourself. You have to, don't you? Gracie Fields, I don't think she ran away from home. We've been enjoying some Gracie of late, though, haven't we? Our Gracie. And I thought we'd stay with a bit of a Christmas Gracie. Why not? Why not indeed? Can you have too much Gracie Fields? Well, maybe for some. Perhaps some, the voice gets too annoying for you, but, well, just close your ears if you fall into that category. Because we're going to have a bit of Gracie now from 1937. Christmas Spells at Eventide.
Christmas is here, it's the time we love.
Love that one, I must admit. You'll probably recognise it. I hope you might do. You might not. As the theme for Claude Thornhill and his band. That was their signature tune. Claude's own tune, Snowfall. And I remember hearing that one time we were doing a Christmas special with the old maestro, and he played it. And I said, this is a great tune. He said, oh, it's Claude Thornhill. Yeah, an interesting character. And I've loved it ever since. And I do love Claude Thornhill's music. And as I've mentioned oft before, I think the link with, of course, Gil Evans, and then realistically through to Miles Davis, which takes us into Jumping In, which, by the way, tomorrow, it's a good time to try Jumping In because it's the Christmas party. It is the Christmas Eve Christmas party with Chris and myself. There will be sherry. There will be mince pies. There will be satsumas. There will be ringos. Not ringos, hula hoops. Hula hoops, yeah. And there might even be an extra elf in the studio. Who knows? But it's very much Christmassy, and it's got all sorts of music in. Not the standard show at all. A good Christmas party, festive feeling with lots of Christmassy jazz again, rather like this, just a tad more modern here and there, but nothing too shocking. So if you like Christmassy jazz, that is one to check out. Tomorrow evening, 9 o'clock, the Christmas Jazz Jumping In party with Chris and myself. In the meantime, we had the little twofer there. Yes, don't know if they've been toofed before. Gracie Fields, with a proper singing. She could sing, couldn't she? We've been hearing her sort of novelty singing voice. Oh, you know, the stuff, oh, I'm a little... You know, the sort of thing, the little girl, sort of Lancashire voice. But hey, she could really sing as well, as she did very effectively there in 1937, Christmas Bells at Eventide. And then followed it up with, like I said, one of my favourites. Told you I'd indulge myself. That's what Christmas is for, I guess, isn't it? To a degree, indulging yourself. Within reason. And others, of course. But yes, there we go. Very nice indeed. Snowfall. And if you were listening earlier in the week, you'd have heard a slightly more modern version of Snowfall, played by our own Morris pal, Mozza, on A Little Light Music. It's a tune that fits into both categories rather well, doesn't it? Right, where are we going to go from there? Do you fancy a medley? A Christmas medley? Yes, I hear you all shout. Well, that's what I'm shouting in any case. See if you can get... I'm not going to tell you the tunes. See if you can guess what Charlie Coons has come up with here for a little Christmas medley. Quite late on for Charlie, this 1956. So pour yourself a sherry, because there's a few in this one. And if you've got a good memory or a piece of paper and a pencil, if you haven't, see if you can recognise the tunes. There we go. How do we get on? A double, well, it's not a double helping, it was all one actually, but normally his medleys were 3 and that was 6, so I don't know if it was a Christmas special, though they were stitched together at some stage. Not by me though, in case you were wondering. Charlie Kuntz, coming towards the end of his career and sadly the end of his life when this Christmas medley was released in 1956. Quality of the recording, well, could do better, I suppose, would be marked on the school report there, wouldn't it? But you wouldn't guess that he was really not at all well when he recorded that. He had really bad arthritis in his fingers. He could barely hit the keys. He had an old factory injury from his younger days where he'd managed to staple 2 of his fingers together, which had come back to haunt him. And his back was so bad that he couldn't actually walk. He had to sort of be placed on the keyboard on the stool. And you think, gee. And yet, he could still come up with lovely medleys like that. An amazing character, as I say. He was one of the highest paid entertainers of his day. And I think at one stage he was earning something like £30,000 a month. And this was in real money, £30,000 a month. Back in the 1930s. I don't mean adjusted. I mean, he was making £30,000 a month then, which would have been something like £300,000 or £400,000 a month. Now, more than footballers, would you believe? Unbelievable. Great character, and lots of music for Charlie's to remember him by, mostly in that medley style. So how many did you get then? How many did you get? Did you write them down? First one was easy, I thought. White Christmas, followed by Toyland, and then we had Mistletoe Kiss, then we had the Christmas Song, then we had Fairy on the Christmas Tree, and an easy one to finish off. Santa Claus is coming to town. If you got them all right, give yourself a pat on the back and pour yourself another sherry. You did very well, is all I can say. Santa Claus might well be coming to town, which is why Louis Armstrong, Satchmo himself, is asking Santa, "Is that you, Santa Claus?"
Is that you, Santa Claus? Gifts I'm preparing for some Christmas sharing, but I pause because hang in my stocking, I can hear a knocking. Is that you, Santa Claus? Sure is dark out, ain't the slightest spark out on my clacking jaw. Who's there? Who is it? Stopping for a visit? Is that you, Santa Claus? Are you bringing a present for me? Something pleasantly pleasant for me. That is just what I've been waiting for. Would you mind slipping it under the door? Old winds are howling, or could that be growling? My legs feel like straws. Yeah, my, oh me, my. Kindly will you reply? Is that you, Santa Claus? Yes, hang in the stocking, I can hear a knocking. Is that you, Santa Claus? You stopping for a visit? Is that you, Santa Claus? Oh, there, Santa, you gave me a scare. Now stop teasing, 'cause I know you're there. We don't believe in no goblins today, but I can't explain why I'm shaking that way. Then I can see old Santa in the keyhole. I'll get to the cause. One peek and I'll try there. Oh, there's an eye there. Is that you, Santa Claus? Please, I pity my knees. Say that's you, Santa Claus. That's him, all right.
A classic, Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, call him what you will. That you, Santa Claus. What a voice. Great novelty number as well. It sounded pretty chilly with that wind blowing. Yes, stay warm indoors. Or maybe, if you're not driving, have one of these. A hot toddy. It always catches me out, that last one. Either I'm going to speak over it or it makes me jump out of my seat, or both in that case. Ted Heath, just get my breath back. Ted Heath and the orchestra. Hot toddy, of course, which might well be what you need. Oh no, those cold days. It's not actually that cold in the Isle of Man at the moment. It's just sort of wet and windy. And the trouble is, as I always say, and bore my friends by saying this, it's a case of 1 degree or 0 degrees or even -1 on a still day is not at all bad. -2 is not at all bad. However, +3 or +4 with a strong wind blowing, ooh, my word, cuts through to the bone, it has to be said. And that's where we've been at the moment. I think it's 5 or 6 degrees driving in this morning, which isn't too bad, really, I imagine, but average for the time of year, perhaps, is it? But when you've got a strong breeze blowing, my goodness, you feel it far more. And you think, gosh, is it really that cold? Or that warm, depending on which way you look at it? Stay warm. Whatever you're doing, stay by the fire. Or go for a good walk. Or put some gloves on if you can't afford to put the fire on. That's the other answer, isn't it? Like we used to. Wrap up warm. And we'll all be all right. Right, we haven't had much sweet. Lots of swing, I think, isn't it? A bit of jazz, not much sweet. So here we go. We're going to level that up a little bit with, what about this one then? Yes, the great Kathleen Ferrier in 1951 with, a Christmas classic, Silent Night.
Oh
the great Kathleen Ferrier. Died tragically young from cancer, of course, but great recorded legacy. All sorts of music if you like that fantastic, rich contralto voice she had. Ever been equalled? Possibly. Bettered? Probably not. Wonderful sound in any case. On the sweeter side of Sweet and Swingy, which was cause of what you're listening to, a bit of a Christmas special. Well, it is almost Christmas, come on. I think we can be justified in having a Christmas special today. So normal service will be resumed after Christmas, of course, but you know what? There's some great Christmas music round, and you can only play it at Christmas, so you may as well play it and enjoy it, which is what we're doing this very evening. We'll stay sweet, shall we? Well, we will stay sweet by name, maybe swing by nature, perhaps you could say. The Bounce of the Sugar Plum Fairy. How many false endings can you get in? Don't skip too quickly into that one. Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy by John Kirby, great bass player, little again heard of these days. Played trombone and tuba as well, and played with Benny Goodman quite a bit, and had his own sort of chamber jazz. I mean, he was one of the first, perhaps in chamber jazz, that lighter, almost sort of classical lineup, and that light crossover type music maybe. Still had that swing feeling, but perhaps leading a vanguard there for that style of jazz. John Kirby, the bass player with Dance, or Bounce as he called it, of the Sugar Plum Fairy back in 1941. Time is marching on, and I did say I'm going to squeeze in some Teresa Brewer, because I've got to. It is schmaltzy, it is American, it is full-on American Christmas schmaltz, and I unforgivably, I would say, I make no apologies, it is. So if you really hate it, this is time to go and get another glass of sherry if you like, or put some tea on if you've had too many glasses of sherry. Another part of my Christmas. Great singer, though, with her Christmas album back in the 1950s. Teresa Brewer and the kids, who probably aren't that young anymore.
How do you know Christmas is coming tomorrow? Yes, Mommy. How do you know?
Well, do you hear the popcorn popping and the icicle snapping and the church bells ding, ding, dinging?
Yes.
The sounds of Christmas are everywhere.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear the echoes of Christmas coming this year, coming from far away, ringing so clear. Listen, my children, and you shall hear the jingling of the sleigh bells, the tingling of the snow, the silvery song of tinsel near the mistletoe, the holiday sound of children laughing the whole day through, bringing a merry Christmas to you. Listen, my children, and you shall hear the echoes of Christmas coming this year, coming from far away, ringing so clear. Listen, my children, and you shall hear. Coming from far away, ringing so clear. Listen, my children, and you shall hear.
Sorry, has to be done. Has to have a bit of Teresa Brewer every Christmas. I'll be playing so on Christmas morning, rest assured. The whole album probably, much to the annoyance of my better half, who finds it a bit too American schmaltzy. Amazingly popular in the time. She recorded over 600 songs in her peak, maybe in the 50s, and then through to the 1960s as well, including that one from about 1957, I think 1958, a few years before I was around, with her family. From her first marriage, she married the producer Bob Teal later on in life, but this was from her first marriage to Bill Monaton, I think it was, in 1949, with the four daughters who are feature there, Kathleen, Susan, Megan and Michelle, and I think the youngest is now in their 60s. And I don't even know if they're all still with us, bless them, but my word, it is what it is, as they say. Wonderful. And she was a terrifically popular singer and did have a marvellous voice, albeit, yes, it's full on schmaltz there. And if you're ever in the States, she has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for her contributions to the recording industry. This man made lots of contributions to the recording industry as well. One of the biggest names, perhaps, in jazz composing, big band music, and just general great taste. Duke Ellington. Here he is, jingling his bells. You can hear them jingling there. I'm going to jingle my way off, would you believe? And just remains to say, the happiest of Christmases to you, whatever you're doing. Be nice to people. Have a lovely Christmas. Have a healthy New Year. And fear not, Sweet and Swing. We'll be with you in 2023. Happy Christmas, everyone. And see you then. Look after yourselves. Cheerio.